The rain has moved through. Clouds still linger overhead, but there is some sun off in the distance. Wet track here at Road America starting to dry, and we're now minutes away from the first of two GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS races here at America's National Park of Speed. Ryan Marine and Calvin Fish with you. It's DJ Clark deputizing for Amanda Busick down in the pits. It's been a wild day, all told, with various weather systems moving through. We had a lightning delay at one point that halted the proceedings. As you can see, there is still lingering moisture on the racetrack, but right now temperatures starting to climb once again back into the 70s Fahrenheit, 71.5 degrees in the air. Track temperature average around the track at 77. Some parts of the track, though, still in shade and not drying quite as quickly as others, and that's going to be the challenge. And I don't think it should be too difficult a choice here, Calvin, but teams will have to decide. Do you start on the Pirelli P0 dries, or do you think about the wets? I think we're done with rain today, so indications are probably the dry tires are the right choice.
Yeah, I think certainly right now, slicks to go out. You got to tread carefully if you're offline. Obviously, there's a lot of damp patches around this racetrack, but I just looked at the forecast, Ryan. There is on the radar about an hour away another little cell that's heading in our direction, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
I retract my comment, but I compliment you for your tire tread carefully pun. Well played today, my friend. All right, let's focus in on the task at hand. Qualifying earlier this morning, dominated, albeit in very different conditions, by a pair of Mercedes from two different teams. Philip Ellis from Regulator Racing, Mackay Stevens from JMF Motorsports. They swept the front row, and it was a dominant showing from Mercedes-AMG. No one else in the ballpark. Yeah,
it really was. Second plus clear for Philip Ellis. We saw in the second session there's more pace in some of those cars when we saw the pros on board. Philip Ellis obviously running the alternate strategy with he and Jeff Burton. So we expect him, I think, 6 poles on the bounce now for that man this season. So really impressive performance by him. But I think this race could be a different story, and certainly the second half of this race, it's anyone's game.
No doubt about it. A lot to still be determined here over the course of a pair of races at Road America, plus what's still to come this season. We talked about Mackay Stevens, his impressive performance this morning in qualifying. His teammate is Mikel Grenier, and he's standing by with DJ.
Mikel Grenier down here in a great position, it has to be said. Starting P2, leading the pro category. Is this the time you guys break through and start to put some pressure on the front of this field?
Yeah, we have to. I mean, there's 3 weekends to go. We're still in the fight for the championship, so it's important to score very good points here. We will try to win both races. That's the goal of the weekend. Might be a bit tricky now in the first few laps, but it looks more or less dry, so everyone's on slicks. Let's see what we can do.
Obviously, yesterday we were in the dry, but it's 2 Mercedes up in the front here. Is there an inherent advantage for this platform?
No, I don't think so. If you look in Quali 2, it was very tight between Corvette, Porsche, and us. Obviously, our car fits well this track, but we'll see in race trim.
I guess we will have to see, and we'll see it here in a few minutes. That's Mikel Grenier, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a really fun pro-class points battle this season. It really tightened up after VIR. This pairing of Grenier and Stevens come in with a pair of wins, only 16 points out of the championship, but that finds them in third, so they still have another car to clear before they can even get to the leaders in the championship. That said, it's been a really strong year for JMF Motorsports, Calvin. This is a team with extensive GT4 experience, but next to none at the GT3 level, and yet they came out, they won out of the gates, race number 1 at Sonoma, and they have been consistently there or thereabouts.
They really have been very strong, consistent podium finisher. Followed that win at Sonoma with another one at Coda in round 2 there. So really impressive performance. The car looks good here. If they can maintain the track position they have on the grid, that would be a 10-point swing in the championship. They're only 20 behind. And these doubleheader weekends, if you have that slight advantage, Ryan, you really got to drive the hammer down and try and nail it here in terms of getting those maximum points and moving on to the next round of the championship a lot tighter.
Yeah, this could be the day for it, but they need to disrupt the team in form at the moment, which is RS1. Alex Sedgwick qualified not too terribly far behind Mackay Stevens. He'll start third overall and second in the Pro Class. So that's the Pro Class side of things. Pro-Am, as always, a big part of the discussion is regulator racing with their alternate strategy. They start up front. Philip Ellis can then hopefully scamper away. That's what they're looking forward to doing. But then things will switch around in the second half, and one of the guys that will be chasing Philip Ellis is Justin Rothberg, who is getting ready to go for this race, DJ, and that's a great thing because he had a big crash earlier today in GT America.
It's a fantastic thing, Ryan, and it is a testament to the racing spirit of not only Turner Motorsport, but Justin Rothberg. There you see the thumbs up from him, strapped in the car. As you said, an absolutely brutal hit earlier today coming through the kink, and he is able to be back in the car and ready to go. That's exactly what you love to see. Let's walk down the grid a little bit more here as we continue to get closer and closer to the magic moment where we fire off. As you can see, we've got Varun Chosky going to be starting here for Random Vandals Racing. Their pro car starting in, that's going to be about 6th place or so. They're going to be in good position to try to move forward, and they're going to try to maybe close in a little bit on that pro championship. I think it's going to be crucial for them to try to get as far ahead as possible and maybe play a little bit of spoiler with RS1 and the JMF machine. This is Blake McDonald for DXDT. I'm going to see if I can grab over here. This is one of the drivers I wanted to talk to. If I can get Isaac Sherman as he comes over here, get him to get his overalls on to make sure that he can get all of his sponsors shouted out here. Isaac, one of the hot shoes coming into the season. I think it's fair to say it's been a little bit of a tough going for you, but you really came into this weekend with a big smile on your face, a lot of confidence, and I'm still seeing it here right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had some bad luck, and it was tough a few of the past races, but coming in this weekend, I'm feeling good. The car feels much better, and we're just kind of coming together as a team. So hopefully we can pull off a good result today, and yeah, just looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to it as well. We wish you luck, Isaac. That's Isaac Sherman, and we'll send it back up to you guys in the booth.
Thanks, DJ. Pair of 5th place finishes at VIR the last time out for Sherman and his teammate Jason Daskalos. 5th is where they roll off today.
Yeah, and they've got Ryan Dial here at the circuit this weekend, who's driven for that team a lot in the past and just a great mentor. And I think Ryan's not only a great driver coach, he kind of looks at the big picture of the group, and I think he keeps the whole unit together and pointed in the right direction. Spoke to Jason Daskalos at the parade the other night, and he said it's great to have Ryan at the racetrack. He really is a differentiator for that group.
Wow, that team, CRP Racing, they do as much with their resources as anybody on this grid. By no means the most financed team, and yet they've been strong. Well, we mentioned the issue for Rothberg in GT America earlier today. This is it, in slow motion through the puddles. It gives you an idea of just how wet this track was earlier today as well. Hit that puddle, aquaplaned off, and a heavy front-end impact at the exit of the Kink Cow.
Yeah, big damage to that race car. Robbie Foley texted me, said they're going to have to switch to the backup car for the GT America race tomorrow morning, but they're good to go here. This race car, there seems to be a subtle difference between the GT World Challenge America car, the car they're campaigning right now, and that GTA car in ultimate pace here. So this car's been really performing well and really strong here. It was a great run by Rothberg to put that car 5th overall on the grid for the start of the race today.
How tough is it for Justin to put that out of his mind and go hammer down through the kink the first time at speed?
It's going to be tough. Certainly very different conditions to what he finished the race in about an hour or so ago, but nonetheless, you have to be mentally strong. But he's pretty stoic. We've seen that in his performances this year. He seems to be able to get his head down, put all of the distraction to one side, and just focus forward.
Getting ready to get all of this race underway here with everything else that's going on. The focus is on GT World Challenge America powered by AWS. Alessandra Gio is here to give the command to start engines in just a few short minutes' time. We'll get this field fired up and underway. Let's head trackside for the command to start engines.
Here to give the most famous words in motorsports, Alessandra Gio.
Drivers, start your engines.
Engines are fired. We're ready to roll here at Road America. 15 cars strong. GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS, the first of 2 90-minute races here this weekend, led by a couple of Mercedes AMGs, Philip Ellis and Mackay Stevens. Then it's Alex Sedgwick and Kenton Cook rolling out, Rothberg, Choxy, McDonald, Coleman, Daskalos, Hahn, and on down the list we go. The field continues to go from strength to strength. Plenty of stories for us to chew on over the next hour and a half. Here are your pole sitters in their respective classes. Mackay Stevens, pole in the pro class. Philip Ellis, overall pole and pro in Pro-Am. And Scott Dollahite took the pole for the Dollahite Racing team. That's their Ford Mustang that didn't get to take part in qualifying too, but Dollahite was quick in the first qualifying session. Did get a penalty, though, for contact with the Todd Coleman-driven Archangel Motorsports McLaren, so they're not starting as high up in the running order as they might have otherwise, but still, that Mustang has been quick over the course of the weekend. Here's the starting grid. Rova Pole Award, as mentioned, to both of the front row cars. In fact, Stevens starts second overall, but it's Ellis on the overall pole position. Both are pole sitters in their own right in their respective classes. Sedgwick, a winner 2 times over, the last time out at VIR, starts third. Then Kenton Cook in the 4th starting position for Random Vandals. Justin Rothberg back on the horse after the big crash in GT America starts 5th. Varun Choxy alongside in another BMW, this one from Random Vandals Racing. Blake McDonald rolls off in the 4th spot. Todd Coleman, 4th row, excuse me. Todd Coleman alongside in 8th. Then it's Jason Daskalos for CRP Racing, and Christian Hahn for AF Corsa, his 2nd weekend in the championship. Back to the 6th row of the grid now. Schwest Povolato Racing and their Corvette. It's Ross Schwest taking the start today, next to Kyle Washington. Both of those guys were racing in GT America earlier today. Scott Dollahite and Jay Schreibman, the 2 M-Class cars, starting in row 7. Out back will be the Heart of Racing entry from their Aston Martin, driven by Gray Newell. That car underwent significant repairs after a crash in practice yesterday. They did take part in qualifying. They should be good to go for the race today. Cal, as we look at this track, does it look pretty dry to you, or are you still going to have to tiptoe around the first lap after the green?
No, I think the line is certainly dry right now. There may be the odd patch. You've got to be careful coming off the corners. There may be some dampness in some of those curbs there as you're accelerating off some of the low-speed corners.
Sarah Choi set to wave the green flag to get this race underway. She'll be watching, as we all will, as these drivers try and assess the amount of grip that's available to them. Talked about it briefly earlier, but some parts of this track are shaded. They've got the trees overhead that continue to drip moisture onto the track. So just because it's dry in one section doesn't mean it's going to be all the way around.
No, and if you attempt to move, you've got to get off that racing line. There's certainly some dampness there. Then your tires are wet when you get into the brake zone for the upcoming corner.
That is Darren Turner. He had the big crash for the Heart of Racing yesterday. He'll have the 2nd stint of the race here in race number 1. Gray Newell will try and fill things out at the start of the race. Here comes the field into the VP acceleration zone. Stevens and Ellis leaning on each other a little bit, coming to the green flag. We wait for Ellis to start to accelerate away, and here he goes. Gets a great jump at the front of the field. Stevens has to settle in behind, and he's under threat now. Kenton Cook looking to the outside. Sedgwick looking to the inside in the Porsche. It's 3 wide, at least for a moment, headed towards turn 1.
Beautifully judged start there by Kenton Cook. Moves that Random Vandals machine up from a P4 overall position up into the top 3 immediately.
Yeah, really nice jump by Kenton. He had to go, and he had to go fast. Choxy sweeps around the outside of Sedgwick, so both Vandals cars moving up quickly here in the early going. Side by side there, that is Daskalos doing battle with the Ferrari a little bit further back in the pack. It's single file, though, through the top 5 on the run down to turn 5 for the first time.
See the drivers weaving around here, making sure the tires are clean by the time. Oh, big move there by Rothberg. Deep on the brakes. Got the weight on the nose of the car. Nice control. Didn't get into the back of the Porsche and keeps it on the racetrack.
Gotta give him credit. He does not look daunted at all, despite the wild ride he had earlier today. A bit of the hair of the dog that bit him, so to speak, getting right back out on track and pushing from the drop of the green.
Yeah, just trying to settle back in here. He's feeling the even behind. Todd Coleman's having an excellent run there aboard that orange and blue McLaren.
Ellis sprinting away at the front of this field. That's what he needs to do. They're hoping for a clean green race for him to build his advantage before he turns his car over to his less experienced teammate Jeff Burton. Then it's Mackay Stevens leading in the pro class. Kenton Cook sits in second in class, third overall. Choxy vaults to third in class, and Cedric is the one who really struggled at the start, dropped a couple of positions for RS1.
Great racecraft at the beginning of that race. Mackay Stevens wanted to kind of keep it narrow on the run to turn one, but Ellis was up to it. He just dropped back a little bit, and Mackay lifted. He just hit the middle pedal. Bold move there by Gray Newell down the inside into Canada corner.
He was braking on the wet side of the racetrack and somehow was able to get it woed up, avoided any contact and didn't lose any positions either, but he's coming under attack from Kyle Washington. So Newell with a decent start, actually. Started out back, picked up a couple of places right from the drop of the green, and now puts his head down, seeking Scott Dolehite. That is his next target, the M-Class leader up the road.
Excellent start there by Choxy, moving that car up into P4 behind his teammate. Both cars running in the pro class, the two Random Vandals machines. Seem to have been a bit on the back foot in terms of single lap pace. They'll see how they fare with this new tire we're competing with for the first time this year, this DHG Pirelli P0. There's a lot of learning to be done in this race here today with that new tire.
Single file under the Sargento Bridge. Here's Rothberg, who is second in class but leads on his strategy, the more traditional driver strategy in GT World Challenge. He's got his mirrors full of this fight, though. Coleman, who's been quick this weekend. Behind him, Blake McDonald, who also has been really fast. And how about Christian Hahn, just his second weekend in the championship? It was an up and down weekend, I think it's safe to say, at VIR, but you can't doubt he's got some pace.
He certainly does. A couple of big shunts there, but certainly has pace and potential here. He looks really racy right now. Starting to put the heat on McDonald there. Bought that DXDT Corvette that's really been super strong here this weekend. His teammate Matt Bell took pole position for tomorrow's race earlier today.
He did. He'll want to keep this Ferrari behind here because the Ferrari, much like the overall leading Mercedes, is on the alternate strategy. The quicker of the two drivers getting the start here. So Christian Hahn needs to try and make hay while he can to set his father Marcelo up for success in the second half of the race. Right now,
he's threatening here. He looks to the inside. Difficult to gauge how much grip is down to the inside. You can see the wet patch there right as you get to that inside curb.
Yeah, that typically is the corner, Canada corner, that dries last here at Road America. We're starting to see that play out a little bit, and it takes away a potential passing zone until that wet spot starts to dry out.
Yeah, and that makes it tougher. The cars may be a little bit out of position here from their grid positions to make those moves. Racing line looks really good. But as you can see, if you venture off that line, you really got to tread very, very carefully to not make that mistake getting to the side of the race car you're attempting to make a move on.
McDonald now looking aggressive after playing some defense a few moments ago. He's right there behind Coleman's McLaren. And they continue their fight for the final step of the podium in the Pro-Am class. Meanwhile, in Pro, all behind Philip Ellis, who is setting a blistering pace, some 0.7 of a second faster than this pairing. It's Mackay Stevens with Kenton Cook starting to look threatening just behind. That's the green and white BMW for Random Vandals Racing.
Yeah, and it didn't look good after qualifying, but certainly Kenton Cook has got his sights set on the big picture. What a weekend. What a season he's put together. He's had 4 wins in this championship, 4 in Pirelli GT4, where he leads those class standings alongside Kevin Bohm in the Random Vandals CrowdStrike machine. And he won here a couple of weeks ago in IMSA competition, driving a Ferrari, a GT3 Ferrari, so he's on a high right now, certainly at the top of his game.
4 wins on the season, a 14-point lead in the championship for Kenton Cook and his co-driver, Connor DeFilippi, who we'll see in the second half of the race. He's keeping Mackay Stevens honest here. Stevens, though, putting in some good lap times. He was particularly quick through the middle sector, which is where the BMW seemed to struggle in qualifying, if you remember, relative to the Mercedes.
It does. First sector really is the straightaways where the BMW is awfully strong, of course. So sector 1 is kind of start-finish line down to the brake zone for turn 5. So you've got the big, long, wide open stretches. These GT3 cars touch about 65 miles an hour 3 times around this racetrack. Once there's this long haul up into turn 1, down the Marine Sweep into turn 5, and then into Canada Corner as well. Very similar, within about a mile an hour in each of those terminal speed traps.
On board momentarily there with Kenton Cook as he chases Mackay Stevens. Here comes the rest of the field. And now it's Coleman looking a bit vulnerable to Blake McDonald, neither on the preferred line into turn 1.
One was a little bit wide there. Shallow approach means you run out wide on the exit. Hahn's just sitting there in the shadows. Look to the inside there by McDonald. That's going to compromise his exit speed a little bit. The Ferrari's going to get a run.
And this is what Hahn wanted to see. Those two got caught up fighting with one another, and now Christian Hahn is in a position to go on the attack. McDonald pops out of line. He too looking to attack Todd Coleman. This is down into turn 5. Heavy braking zone. Bottom of the hill, and the Corvette sweeps through to get around the McLaren here. That is a change of position in class. 3rd place changing hands.
Yeah, I think nicely judged there by Coleman not to get too feisty and fight too hard there. Otherwise, I think you'd have lost another position to the Ferrari.
He may yet lose that position. Hahn looking quite threatening, but again, that blue Ferrari on a slightly different program, starting its quicker driver. Christian Hahn, Father Marcelo's been in the car all season. Started the year with Alam Kodair as his co-driver, but right now he's got his son as the co-driver. The two teaming up nicely across a couple of weekends now, starting at the IO.
Yeah, of course, there are a couple of Ferraris in this race, of course. One is very much in the fight for the championship in the AM class. There's Jay Schreidman and Oz Negri. They drove the 163 hard. Big exit there off of Canada.
Looming large in the mirrors now. McLaren trying to fend off the Ferrari. Christian Hahn really aggressive. Pokes the nose out of line to the inside in turn 14. Coleman gives him enough room. Side by side at corner exit, and this battle's not done yet. This is great news for Daskalos, who's right there in the background in his Mercedes. But here comes Hahn. He's got the ponies down the front straightaway. Ferrari and McLaren roaring towards turn 1.
Was trying to work that side draft there. Gets to the inside. Coleman doesn't want to give it up. Now he's out wide. Got to be careful there. Here comes Daskalos to the inside.
Schwest will follow him through as well. That's the black and silver Chevy Corvette. And here comes the AM-class leader as well, Scott Dolehite. Smelling that blood in the water. Coleman really laboring here in the opening 10 minutes.
Yeah, Dolehite Racing really getting to grips here with this Ford Mustang. Dolehite's got the run on Coleman.
This Mustang's been dynamite in a straight line here this weekend. Up the inside, and Dolehite able to finish that move off. So up a position overall. That is for 11th in the overall running. Difficult lap there for Todd Coleman. Needs to gather it back in now.
He does. No big mistakes there. He just got worked over a little bit there with the racecraft, with the other drivers around him, and just one by one they kind of got by him. So curious to see what sort of pace some of these drivers have now that they've cleared the McLaren. The McLaren's been really quick here this weekend. Thielen's put in an excellent qualifying run for race 2 here tomorrow, earlier today as well.
Yeah, he did, so don't write them off just yet. Aaron Thielitz, when he gets his chance, has been rapid, as Calvin pointed out. He'll be in the car for the second stint of the race. Ellis leads by 3.5 seconds. Mackay Stevens leads in the pro class, 2nd overall. Cook, Choxy, Sedgwick, the rest of the top 5. Speaking of Stevens, here he is. Leader in class, doing his best to keep pace with Ellis as we go full course yellow for the first time in the race today.
This is oh, big one.
Dolehite
and
Coleman.
Wonder if Dolehite, he was ahead of him, so I wonder if there was an attempt for a move by Coleman or whether Dolehite lost it and just got wrapped up with the McLaren.
Well, just got the brief glimpse of it, but both cars look pretty heavily damaged. This runs contrary to everything Regulator Racing hopes for race number 1. It wipes out the lead that Ellis has been able to build, and this figures to be a rather lengthy delay, so that limits them the time for that Ellis has to try and build a gap once again.
Yeah, it certainly does. And that kink has Taking a few cars out of the action so far this weekend. Big commitment through that corner, but big consequences if you get it wrong.
Undoubtedly. It is feared and revered both. One of those corners that test the mettle of a racing driver. You have to treat it with due respect, or else the consequences can be quite significant. And unfortunately, it looks like that's been the case for both the Ford Mustang of Scott Dollahide as well as the McLaren of Todd Coleman.
Both those operations having really solid weekends to this point, so that'll be bitter disappointment for both of those groups who felt they had a great chance of some really big points this weekend.
Well, that safety crew will attend to the two drivers and start to begin the cleanup process as well. Philip Ellis has his lead wiped away here. This is great news for Rothberg, for McDonald, as well as Daskelos and Schwest and Newell. That whole bunch. This does not play, as mentioned, into the hands of Philip Ellis and Jeff Burton. Same can be said for Christian and Marcelo Hahn. But it does give everyone a chance to reset, at least momentarily. Does look like the track by and large has dried out at this stage. The only exception might be down towards turn 12. But a chance for these drivers to relay some of that information back to their teams and their co-drivers who will be jumping aboard in about 20 or 30 minutes.
Absolutely. Good chance for some of the pros to get in the air of some of these AM drivers who start these races and just talk them through maybe some cockpit adjustments that they can make, get the car more into their operating window.
Should cover off as well. That crash has championship implications in the AM class. Not as much as it might have had in recent years. We'll get to that in a second, but that effectively ensures a win in class for Jay Schreibman and Oz Negri. They came into the weekend even on points. And you have to hope that that Mustang is repairable and ready to go for race 2 tomorrow, or this could have catastrophic consequences for the championship.
That's the big point that you were getting to there, Ryan. This year, if you just make the formation laps, you're good for points. You don't have to do 50% like years past, but you got to make the start, and that car has a lot of damage. They're a relatively small team. I'm not sure how many spare parts they have for that Ford Mustang here at the racetrack.
Field having to tiptoe through the debris field here.
Yeah, curious to know. So Dollahide had made that move down into turn 5 on Coleman. Not sure if Coleman had got a run on Dollahide or whether Dollahide got in trouble and then Coleman just got wrapped up in it.
Kicked off a difficult few laps for Todd Coleman, who had been running as high as 3rd in class. Just never looked quite comfortable with the car. Dropped a few positions. Whatever the cause, the effect is quite clear. That car will take no further part in today's activities here at Road America, and it figures to be a busy night of repairs for the Archangel team. They won't get to enjoy all of the pleasures of the village of Elkhart Lake with so many of their compatriots.
Yeah, home race for his teammate Telitz as well, so they got family and friends there. I think everyone's going to have to dig deep and try and get that car back on the race. Let's take a look, see how this develops. So here's Dollahide. Drops a wheel on the entry. I think that got him loose immediately. That's a massive hit. Coleman tries to respond and just loses control. Gray Newell there just slows everything down, is able to escape without any damage, I believe.
Wow, Newell and Washington both did well to pick their way through that. Gotta wonder about the tires, though, going through that debris field.
I think that was the entry that kind of got him kind of sideways. Just put the left sides on that curb. Could be a little bit damp there and just start to slide a bit on him. And he was still working the car at apex and couldn't keep it together.
That was a huge impact for Dollahide in particular, and into what is effectively the safer barrier there right on the outside of the kink. That's one of several initiatives from a safety perspective that the track has implemented Specific to that corner in recent years, there's also that additional bit of curbing that's intermixed with grass that gives an escape route when things go wrong from time to time, but there was no saving that one, I'm afraid.
Let's take a slower look at this in another replay and see exactly what happened. Watch the left side tires as he turns in. He gets up on that curb, then immediately you can see the correction in the front end of the car, and then it bites and then just sends him. And the problem for Todd Coleman, when you come in a corner like this at 150 miles an hour, if you just give it a big lift, it throws all the weight on the car, pins the nose, pins the splitter, and it's going to loosen up the rear end.
Not to downplay the impact for Coleman, I'm sure it wasn't pleasant, but that did not look to be the same degree of magnitude as what Scott Dolehite had to deal with, and so hopefully, consequently, the damage to that McLaren is not as severe, but for the Dolehite team,
it was a big hit.
No kidding.
First thoughts were Scott, hope he's okay, and is able to walk away and just assess the damage on the race car would be the next priority, but that was a big hit for him.
This figures again to be a fairly lengthy cleanup process.
Just getting into the earliest point in this race, if you can do the minimum stop time. Minimum time on pit lane for the mandatory stop is 86 seconds. You add that to 50 minutes when you leave pit lane. If you want to pit on the earlier side, you're looking at 51 minutes and 26 seconds left in this race. So we're a solid 20 minutes away from that point. So hopefully we'll get back to green flag action. It will not affect that pit window.
Yeah, that will be something to watch. There's Kyle Washington. Had a race earlier today in GT America, finished up on the podium in that one, along with Ross Schwest, who's just 2 cars up the road in that Chevy Corvette. Another strong outing for Schwest Povolator Racing, currently shown 6th in class. Team has turned the corner. They had the summer break and they turned up at VIR locked and loaded. They were ready to go. They've been super impressive, doing a lot with a little, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, it really is great to see them performing at that level. We knew the potential was there, but now they're starting to show it on the racetrack.
Well, it's been an interesting weekend for Random Vandals racing at the GT3 level. They didn't have a great qualifying effort, but Kenton Cook was phenomenal off the start. His co-driver is Connor DeFilippi, and he's standing by with DJ.
Great start for you in Random Vandals racing, really putting you into a good stead, but I want to focus a little bit on the track. What are you hearing from your teammate in terms of this drying condition? How are the conditions out there?
At the moment, it looks like it's dry conditions. Kenton had a great start. Varun had a great start as well, slotting up into 3rd in class. So, yeah, so far so good. I think it's going to be a battle to try to get to the lead here. I think it's looking like Kenton's trying to keep some temperature in the tire as much as he can, and hopefully we can attack on the restart if we go green here again. But yeah, obviously it's dry for now. It looks like some rain's coming though, so I wouldn't be afraid of a little rain into my stint. I think that's going to give us the best chance to try to get a winning result. So praying for some rain.
Oh, that's a little bit of a confidence boost. I mean, do you think it's the car, or is it just trusting your own ability that you can dominate in the rain?
I mean, honestly, I love the rain. So far this weekend, we haven't had really the pace to really fight for the win. So it's been kind of a points gathering weekend for us in the 99. So I think when it rains, it kind of equalizes things a little bit and puts it back into my hands. So I'm hoping for a little bit of that. Hopefully there's no lightning, so we actually get to race in the rain. But yeah, it's all stuff out of our control, but we could at least hope for it.
All right, well, race fans, if you're at home, start doing a rain dance if you're a fan of Random Vandals.
Yeah, just checking the radar, Ryan. It looks like that could be about 30 minutes away, which is well within the time frame before we get to the checkered flag this afternoon. It looks heavy if it does hit. It's a big cell.
Yeah, I guess the rain is what Connor's hoping for, but the bad news is it could include some lightning, just looking at the radar that's on its way. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how exactly that shakes out. But for now, we stay under safety car conditions for the 2-car incident in the kink. Scott Dolehite, Todd Coleman. Cleanup continues here at Road America.
Connor certainly brought up a great point. That great start by Choxy really creates that buffer that they're looking for. The 18 car sweeping at VIR closed within 14 points to the 99, but they got their teammate between he and Sedgwick. So that's really important for Kenton Cook to try and keep Varun there right on his tailpipes here and keep that Porsche at bay.
Back onto the front straightaway. Mentioned the AM-Class Championship, and this is figuring to be a good points day for Jay Schreiben and Oz Negri, who continue around behind the safety car. Meanwhile, we've been telling the Justin Rothberg story throughout the course of the day. His friend, his driver coach, and his co-driver, Robbie Foley, is down in the pits, and DJ has found him.
As we continue under this cleanup, I have been able to catch up with Robbie Foley. Looks like maybe the race is coming back to you guys a little bit more here as things go along. I see a smile. That's a good sign.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a bunch of ugly-looking clouds over there that may throw.
Apologies for the technical issue there. We'll try and get a word with Robbie Foley here if time and the technical gods allow, but I kind of got the glimpse of what Robbie was about to say, where it seems like things might be falling their way. Right now, they effectively lead it on their strategy, right? They're the top Pro-Am car that has started the lower graded driver in the lineup, but anyway, we'll just have to see if we get this race resumed first of all. If it does, when that pit window falls is important, and then, of course, the pit stop, an important element of this too.
Well, I think there's going to be an urgency when Robbie does get going, because certainly we're going to get restarted here, I think, before the rain falls. And then he needs to get that track position in case it does go red and get those points in hand.
Update from race control. Good news to pass along. Both drivers, Todd Coleman, Scott Dolehite, are reported to be in good condition. They've been taken to medical for evaluation, but report is both were able to walk away under their own power, which is great news, especially for Scott Dolehite, who endured a very big impact in the kink just a few moments ago. That has necessitated this full course yellow, but we got a glimpse of the kink, and it does appear that the safety vehicles have moved off and out of that location. So that would be indicative of perhaps a restart here before too terribly much longer. With 65 minutes still on the clock, and there's the telltale sign. Lights off on the safety car.
Yep. Those safety vehicles are kind of getting their way off the racetrack. We've got about a mile plus to go before we get back to the stripes, so we should have the track clear by that point. Now you got to get those tires prepped, get them cleaned up. Scrub those fronts especially, so when you got some turning ability when you get up in turn one for the first time.
Todd Coleman's car being carted back to the paddock. Archangel Motorsports, the Mike Johnson-led crew, with some work ahead of them. Hopefully that can be repaired in time for the race tomorrow.
Be tight here. I think that Wrecker's going to have to be on his fastest lap of the day to clear the way for us to go back to green here.
And it deprives us a chance, too, to see Aaron Telitz at his home track. That's really disappointing. And it's back-to-back DNFs as well for the pairing. They are credited with an 8th place finish the last time out at VIR race number 2. It's going to be a 9th place result here today. They were in solid championship position after the first 3 race weekends. VIR didn't really go according to plan, and they'll really need a rebound tomorrow if they're going to make up some ground that they are undoubtedly losing in today's race. Safety car is off. It looks like the wrecker's been able to make it out of the way as well. So here we go, back to green once again. Good getaway from Ellis, but Stevens looking a little bit vulnerable. Kenton Cook, who is not shy about making moves. We've seen that already in this race, putting the pressure on. He's got a little bit of a slipstream to work with as well, side by side with the Mercedes of Stevens for the lead in the Pro class, but Cook can't quite get it done. He'll try to cross Stevens over to get to the inside, and he has that position on the run down to turn number 3.
Beautifully done there by Kenton Cook, just kind of baited Mackay to go in there that little bit deeper, did the crossover. That's allowed Varun, who didn't have a great restart there, to get right back on the tail of the Mercedes.
Kyle Washington off track and back on.
Here comes Varun Choksi. This is what Kenton Cook is looking for. Varun deep on the brakes, down into turn 5. Mackay tries to roll speed around the outside, but Varun is through.
How about these BMWs? They really struggled in qualifying, but now they run 1-2. Great move by Varun Choksi around Mackay Stevens. Alex Sedgwick the next to try and line up the erstwhile race leader in class.
So from what they thought was a poor qual, oh, Sedgwick is off the road, going there through turn 7, gets it back into play. But Random Vandal's coming good here in race conditions.
Remarkable. Might not even need that rain that Connor DeFilippi was asking for. They've got to the front of this race now. Rothberg, second in Pro-Am. He's right behind this quartet of Pro Class cars. He's got his hands full, though, with McDonald and Hahn in tow just behind. And don't sleep on Jason Daskalos, who's putting in another strong run for CRP Racing.
Yeah, good to see some Spars in that camp as well this weekend. They had a couple of rough weekends at Sebring and at VIR, but certainly CRP have bounced back nicely with their Mercedes, very much in the mix here.
Rothberg able to keep that Corvette behind, but could be easier said than done for the rest of this race. That Corvette, especially with Matt Bell driving, has been so fast here this weekend. Best news of all for Rothberg, though, is McDonald can't just focus on going on the attack. He's got the Ferrari of Hahn right behind, looking pretty threatening here, too.
Yeah, he certainly does. Just got to be thinking big picture of the championship. They have a healthy, I think it's 44-point lead over the 11 machine right now. 4 wins this year and 3 podiums. Only one time this year that number 29 car finished off the podium.
Remarkable run of consistency, isn't it? Out of that bunch, looking to go back-to-back in GT World Challenge America. Won the title a year ago in dramatic fashion at the Indianapolis 8-hour. It's been a strong title defense here in 2025.
Nice chance for Rothberg to have a little bit of a reset. You talked about that incident this morning. How would his confidence be? Well, he certainly stood up to the task. Really nice solid start. Had that little bobble down into turn 5, collected it nicely.
Race Vision powered by AWS. Fastest sector 2, Philip Ellis by a healthy margin over Mackay Stevens. Those 2 Mercedes still the strongest in that middle sector. That's a trend we saw in qualifying. Sedgwick right there, as is Hahn, and then Kenton Cook, 5th fastest, but still quick enough to be 2nd overall and leading in class.
Yeah, you talk about that comparison between qualifying and race. There have been a slight BOP change since qualifying this morning, where the BMW's lost a little bit of weight and the Corvette have gained some, so that may be showing itself here in race conditions today.
Look at the speed of a modern GT3 car, one of the fastest parts of this racetrack. We've talked about it a few times, but there are 3 really fast sections of this track where you might get close to terminal velocity.
Yeah, that's down into Canada, up into turn 1 and down into turn 5, but what a thrill it is to be at this racetrack and hear the sounds, the cacophony of sound as you come down through the trees here. Amazing.
It's a great setting for it, the way the sound filters through the forest. You hear it coming at you from a bunch of different angles, too, as a spectator, if you're in the infield, with the way the track twists and turns and comes back on itself. Just a fantastic place to watch a motor race. Philip Ellis leading this one. Back to a 1.6-second advantage. He needs to get away while he can before we get into that pit stop window, the de facto window, as it were. Watching Rothberg, though, continue to scrap for 2nd place in his class. Mike Donald, Christian Hahn right there behind him, as is Daskalos.
So you say, Ellis going back to work. He's now got a 1.5 second lead over Kenton Cook, who's the pro class leader. That's overall lead I'm talking about. But his fastest lap is a second clear of anyone in this race today.
Oh.
But so much of that was worked out by that full course yellow, of course.
Remarkable pace from Philip Ellis. And remember, he likely has to compromise a little bit, at least, with that setup. Driving in a Pro-Am lineup, it's probably not just totally tailor-made to his every whim, and yet, week after week, he extracts the pace out of that car.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on, particularly when you get to a racetrack that is as edgy as I call it, as Road America. High speed, high commitment. You certainly want that car to be comfortable for his teammate who has a lot less experience, Jeff Burton. So he jumps on board, he can drive the race car. So yeah, the speed is there, and you'd have to wonder what Philip Ellis could achieve if he's able to really get the setup ideal for his driving prowess.
I think what makes him so impressive, on top of all the obvious things, the race wins, the championships, etc., is his ability to bounce back and forth between a Pro-Am lineup and an all-pro lineup and just drive whatever Mercedes he is given at a really fast clip. It's been on display once again here this weekend. His lead now continues to grow.
He sits aboard a Mercedes as often as he puts his slippers on at home.
That's
so
right.
Every weekend he seems to be campaigning one somewhere globally.
And likely winning, based on his form over the last few years. Rothberg looking a bit vulnerable here. McDonald continues to stalk him. This is about as close as they've been to one another across the start-finish line over the past few laps. McDonald does show the nose to the inside, but tucks back in line. Really patient, picking his spots. Got a great team behind him in DXDT Racing, and right now, he might have the faster of the two race cars as well.
Gets pretty aggressive with those moves, kind of paints the picture for the driver who's defending pretty early. I think he needs to be a little bit more cagey with this if he's going to really make a legit overtaking move on him. But just really impressive what he's been able to do this year as he gets more and more miles under his belt. Great tutelage with that whole group at DXDT, so much experience there. Aaron Grahagan is on site this weekend as Brian Sellers is off with their testing program at Indianapolis.
Yeah, that team with 14 hours of racing still to come this year at Indianapolis alone. The Indy 8 hour as well as a 6-hour IMSA race the month before. McDonald, quick study, I think it's safe to say, doesn't have a lengthy resume, but did win a Porsche Sprint Challenge USA West title a year ago, won 7 races en route to that championship, made his GT World Challenge America debut at the Indy 8 hour last year, driving for this team, kind of trying it out, testing the waters, liked what he saw, and came back for a full campaign this season. Joined by Matt Bell, who has had some success this year driving these Corvettes. Let's get an update from the pits. DJ, let's check back in with you. I think you were able to get the full update, albeit off camera, from Robbie Foley.
Yes, I was, Ron. A little bit of technical difficulties that we worked through, but Robbie was basically telling me about Justin's resiliency, being able to get through that big incident that he had earlier. A little shaken up, but he was ready and rearing to go for this race. And they really feel like this race is starting to favor the BMWs. They're looking forward to the rain, a lot like Random Vandals Racing, that we believe is going to be coming here. So keep an eye on that Turner Motorsport BMW. This could be a good one for them.
Yep, thanks DJ, and you keep an eye on the skies because they're looking a bit ominous off in the distance all of a sudden. So that forecasted rain that you and Cal have mentioned a time or two does look like it is inbound. The question is when and with what degree of severity.
Yeah, I think ideally these teams would, certainly for Foley and company, they'd like to get Foley in the car, try and get the track position, but it's not going to be easy here today. Before the red flag potentially comes, that rain looks big if it does get here before the checkered flag.
Even if there isn't lightning, and there may or may not be, but it could reach a point where visibility becomes an issue. So with safety in mind, everyone will be keeping an eye on conditions as they develop, but it's dry right now. That's the important thing. And Justin Rothberg continues to keep those elbows nice and wide. Blake McDonald's asked a lot of questions, but so far Rothberg has had every answer. 54 minutes still on the clock as we edge closer to that pit stop window. Will the timing of the rain coincide at all with the pit stop window? That's the other element you have to keep in mind.
Yeah, you'd think that might be ideal, but what it may work out for anyone who drives a little bit deeper into that, what we call a window. It's not a definitive window now, it's just maximum drive time of 50 minutes, but you'd expect Ellis to certainly stay out there for the majority of that. But that may time out about the timing of the rain potentially to arrive. So if you're on the early side with the pit stops, I think it's still going to be dry. So that could be a factor too in terms of when you elect to make that pit stop today. And if you knew it was dry all race, go with your normal strategy. If there's rain threatening, you may decide to wait.
And so much still to play for. Meanwhile, back in the paddock area, this is Todd Coleman's wounded McLaren that's made its way back to the team. DJ has this update for us.
Yeah, Ryan, this Archangel McLaren, it does look a little worse for rear right now, but I had a chance to talk to the team. They are confident this thing is going to be ready and rearing to go by tomorrow, so no worries there. Going to find out a little bit on Dull High Racing and the state of that Ford Mustang in a little bit for you.
Thanks for the investigative work, DJ. Hope for the best. Best news of all, though, drivers were all right. That was a big one, as they tend to be down at the kink. Can't take our eyes off of this.
Yeah, McDonald's ever closer, flashing his lights, doing everything he can to distract Justin Rothberg, but he very rarely makes mistakes. He had that little off at VIR he got away with, and obviously got caught out in the rain this morning, but they are rare in terms of watching him close up over the last couple of years.
Oh man, another full course yellow is out.
Wow, this absolutely destroys Regulator Racing and their strategy here by starting their faster driver in the first stint.
What we do not know is the cause of the yellow, but yeah, that wipes away a 3.8 second lead. This is one of those where I think Regulator now is hoping that the rain comes and the skies open up and we might have some lightning, and the report is there is a lightning strike within the 8-mile radius that the series keeps an eye on. So even before the rain has arrived, the lightning has an effect on this race, and now it just depends on whether or not this race gets back underway, where this could yet be all right for Regulator.
Well, huge decision here to make. Do you come now, would be ideal, and make the pit stop, banking on it going back to green?
Sure.
Or do you stay out thinking it's going to get halted? I think for certainly the majority of the teams, they're going to be coming in. We're really close. By the time you get to pit entry, I think everyone is good to come in, do the minimum stop time of 86 seconds, and get back out. So perfect timing here for the 11 car. It's tight. Surprised no one's bailing. I think they're thinking about the weather.
If you don't have track position, you might as well gamble. So I'm surprised you don't see a Newell or a Washington.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. You look at the clock, 50 minutes is the maximum drive time, so with that second driver leaves, there's got to be at least 50 minutes on the board. You're on pit lane for 86 seconds, so they're well inside that window. Because how long are we going to be under this yellow? With the lightning in the area, you think you'd exhaust that period of time where you can't go beyond 50 minutes into this race. So with 40 minutes to go, you got to be on pit lane, otherwise you exceed the maximum drive time for the starting driver. I'd be rolling the dice. If I'm deeper in the pack, I'd be bailing, coming in, and then when everyone else has the pit lane, you're just going to rock up to the front of the pack. Then if we never get back to green flag racing, you're going to get the points.
Right. Well, we'll see how the teams elect to play this. But for now, it is full course yellow with lightning in the area. If you are here on site and watching along, which we know so many of you do, and we thank you for it, please be safe, make a plan to deal with this weather that's coming through. It's one of those summer days in the Midwest, Calvin. It's been sunny, it's been warm, it's been cool and rainy, and we've had a deluge as well in the middle. We might have another one coming our way.
Absolutely, and I think that's the concern for the teams and the strategists trying to put it all together. If you didn't have that maximum drive time, you'd think we'll just stay out, we may never go back to racing. But there's a maximum drive time, whether under yellow or not. That still comes into play. So within the next 9 minutes, all of these cars have to hit pit lane.
Right.
Otherwise, that starting drive is going to exceed the maximum drive time. So why not come, get your driver change done? You got the track position, and you may never go back to green, potentially, of course.
I thought we saw it all at VIR, didn't we? With some of the weird...
The timing of it.
Yes. And every time you think you've seen it all in racing, the sport throws you something you've not seen before. And this is a conundrum with the drive time, the clock continuing to go. Even if there were to be a red, the clock would continue to tick. I suppose there's probably a force majeure clause in there somewhere that would allow the drive time rule to be overlooked if necessary. And the two-driver rule as well, if the red came out before anybody made a pit stop. But on the other hand, if you were quick thinking, like Calvin, and you made the call to the pit lane, you could find yourself in a position to take advantage of it. But instead, no one will be able to take advantage of it because the red flag is out. And so any opportunity to try and make that strategic call has gone out the window. And with the red flag, how does this affect the drive time stuff?
I'm curious. I don't know the rules whether because if we're under red, the clock continues to run. So essentially all of those drives will be maxed out on their drive time. So I'm curious to know if they'll allow the driver change to happen under red flag conditions. They've then got to come in and do the mandatory service, change tires, etc. So this is a big decision here for the race director to inform the teams exactly how they want this to play out.
Okay, so the cars come to the pit lane. The intention is, if possible, for the race to resume. Right now, the clock continues to tick, although we've seen it before. Time can be added to compensate for lost time if necessary. There's still one race on the schedule later on today. That is the Pirelli GT4 America race. And this, so we'll see what comes of this.
The big key here is, we're red flag right now. If that time's out, then that may have been when some of these teams elected not to come down pit lane and try and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't go back to racing and you'd pitted, then you'd be at the tail end of the field. So, so many variables here with weather and race director decisions, how they're going to let it play out.
Exactly. There's Mackay Stevens out of his car. It's a strange situation, right? You look at it and you say, well, why aren't we running? There's no rain. It's not wet. Conditions are fine. But lightning's not something you can take any chances with. Heard that round of applause in the background for Kitten Cook. That is so deserved. What a stint.
What a stint, but maybe there's bigger congratulations. Maybe they know something that we've not heard yet in terms of this may be it.
Interesting points.
Because I don't think you'd just be high-fiving to make such a fuss just for a good stint there, but even so, they got the track position, they got the lead in class. Could be a huge day. Random Vandel's 1-2 right now in that pro class.
As rules master, I've got another quiz for you, Cal. You have to be past halfway, right, for full points? Or is it 70%? Or is it, that's gone now? Okay, that's another one of those changes, all right. Yeah. So the race distance doesn't have to reach a certain point. The race clock doesn't have to reach a certain point. 4 points to be paid. Anyway, that's something for us to try and chase. And what a run of emotions for this team here, Regulator Racing. That yellow initially, we thought this is not good news. And it all depends now on whether or not this race resumes. But right now, Ellis shown out in front.
Yeah, they certainly felt that the race was getting away from them, but if we don't go back to green flag racing, it certainly bounced back in their direction in a big way.
Well, Ellis did what he does best. Another pole position. It's been perfect on the season. Built a lead, had it go away because of a yellow. Masterful restart, built the lead again, only for it to go away again. And now we just wait for the ruling about what will happen with this race. Speaking of Philip Ellis, he's out of the car as we saw. And DJ Clark is there in the pits. I believe we can go to DJ now to hear from the race leader, Philip Ellis.
Race leader Philip Ellis right now looking in very good stead. Are you doing a little bit of a rain dance here to hope this comes on in?
Oh, definitely. I told the crew to get some umbrellas and just hold it up as high as they can. Get some more lightning down. You know, our strategy is obviously the opposite of everybody else, so it would be great if we stayed red. It was unfortunate with the 2 yellows already. Hope the guys are okay. It looked like a big crash, and yeah, just praying that we stay red.
Praying you stay red. What does this set you up for tomorrow?
I mean, tomorrow just changes it all. Like, to be honest, I would love to have some yellows tomorrow, as you know, just to make the hunting a bit easier for me and to close the gap to the front guys. But yeah, you never know. It's such a chaotic race and mixed weather conditions, so nobody really knows.
I can tell you, by the way, that both drivers are okay and they're out, so they're all good. So, Philip, thank you, and we'll keep doing a rain dance for you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Good to hear from Philip. Still waiting word about what the plan is here, whether or not this race can resume. Tell you what, there are some intimidating-looking clouds off on the horizon.
That's the definition of chill right there.
Yeah.
Justin Rothberg just kicking back, laying on some wet weather tires should they need them.
And they may before it's all said and done. Cal, you were digging through the rule book trying to get an answer to my question. What did you find out?
Well, full points will be awarded if the leader has completed more than 50% of the original race time, which would be 45 minutes, with the clock continuing to roll. I assume we are good to go on that, and full points would be awarded.
Yeah, I think so too. That would be my interpretation of it. Had we not reached the halfway, but had completed at least 2 laps, it would only be half points awarded, but I think we're beyond that scenario. Still waiting for the ruling on what is to happen with this race, whether or not it will resume. That is the hope of the organizers, of course, but again, keeping an eye on the weather as it comes in. The reason for the red, if you're just joining us, lightning in the area, and as is standard in North American motorsport, North American sports in general, any outdoor event, if there is lightning within a prescribed radius, then the event goes on hold for the safety of all involved. DJ, though, not sitting and resting on his laurels. He's still out there patrolling the pits for us. Let's hear from him now. Who have you caught up with there, DJ?
I've caught up with GMG Racing's Tom Sargent. Tom, doing a great job out there. How's the car feeling, and what's the nature of this race been with the kind of stop and start feel of it?
I mean, this event is one of the most hectic ones that SRO come to all year, so let alone when you add this type of weather in, you just get out of control. So obviously we saw in the GT America race just a little bit before, it was pretty crazy, and then it's been a very similar incident in the World Challenge. So I'm really happy with Kyle, though. He ran around, brought the car back, so that's the important part. Unfortunately, now we're on the red flag condition. Not sure what's going to happen, but hopefully we can get back out there and get raining. I'd love to get in the car. We had a good qualifying, so I feel like we're ready to capitalize on some stuff.
How much of an advantage is it for you as a team that Kyle is able to do those double stints in that way, and you're able to analyze a little bit more data than other teams would be able to?
For sure, it's a benefit. It's good for Kyle, one, he just gets more laps, and it's good for us as a team. You know, it's a lot nicer when it's a dry weekend and everything's consistent, but even now, if it was to rain, Kyle was going to be in a lot better mindset than a lot of the other drivers who weren't able to do the GT America race. So it's great for us. I get to also analyze what Kyle does, and I get to see a little bit for myself. So that helps me when I get in the car, and it helps us as a whole as GMG.
That can only be a good thing for GMG Racing. Tom, we'll let you go. Guys, I can tell you that it's not raining here yet, but the wind has definitely picked up down on pit lane.
Yeah, we could see that watching some of the flags blowing in the breeze, the tents as well, and then there's a big cloud that is blowing over and doing so quickly. Hopefully, though, that means that the system will move quickly. We will see. At the moment, do not have any further information to pass along. The clock continues to tick away under 40 minutes to go. Stay safe, first and foremost, DJ, but if you have a chance to grab a word with any of the teams or drivers, we would love to hear from them while we have this delay down in the pits.
Getting back to my original point, I mean, obviously, if it went flag, we didn't go racing again. My strategy call there would have backfired, but if we do go racing, imagine if anyone had pitted.
Yeah.
They'd have their mandatory stop done, driver change done. They'd have circulated back to the tail end, be on the lead lap still, sitting on pit lane with everything done. So
and they could have put wet tires on and alleviated any potential risk of even running around under the safety car in the wet, which we've seen this weekend isn't the easiest thing.
I think there was so much uncertainty about how they would play it out from the race director's office in terms of how we would deal with the potential threat of lightning and a red flag.
Sure, but I think maybe for those that were not in a good position anyway,
you roll
look
the dice,
at a Washington or a Newell, even a Schwest, why not roll the dice? But that opportunity was missed and then didn't have a second shot at it when the red flag came out on the subsequent lap. But no, I think I'm buying what you're selling. There was definitely an opportunity there, especially for Washington, who was last effectively anyway. You wouldn't lose anything by taking the risk, even if it didn't quite go according to plan. But again, this is all hypothetical at this point because it's too late now. We won't be seeing any pit stops until after we get through this weather delay. It's an annual tradition, Calvin. We're dodging the rain showers here in the middle of summer at Road America.
The sky that we're looking at on camera right now is not what I'm looking at out of our booth right here. It's looking ominous. It's really dark out there. So heading over the paddock area and towards pit lane.
Interesting, though, as dark as it is, I don't think it's raining outside of our window. Hard to tell. I mean, this definitely looks like a rain cloud that's drifting overhead, but not seeing moisture come down. But the wind, as DJ mentioned, is picking up, and it's blowing across the track here, across the front straightaway at Road America. A couple big systems moving through the area over the course of the day today. Located not far at all from Lake Michigan, too, which is a big body of water, and that's got a part to play in the meteorological events that take place in this part of the world.
Shame, because everyone so looks forward to coming to this racetrack and competing. So it's been a tough day weather-wise to get through. Tomorrow looks a little bit brighter, maybe some rain early in the day, but more stable conditions potentially.
Yep, but that forecast has been ever evolving. I mean, today's forecast looked utterly different 24 hours ago, 12 hours ago, 8 hours ago, on down the line. You just don't know what to expect until it's on top of you. And even then, as I say, by rights, it looks like this should be pouring down rain when you look at how dark it is and at the clouds that are overhead, and yet I don't see any precipitation. So it's worth reiterating this pause is due to lightning in the area, and we need that to clear out before activities can resume here at Road America. Philip Ellis leads this race overall. Regulator Racing on their alternate strategy from pole position. The 4 Pro Class cars run 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the overall order, with Kenton Cook, who was phenomenal in that first stint, able to drive up through the field and take the lead in class. Varun Choksi had a great stint also. He's up to 2nd in class, 3rd overall. Mackay Stevens and Alex Sedgwick completing the top 5. An update from race control. We've got the red flag because of lightning in the area. It's a stoppage that at the moment we can't tell you when it's going to end. So for the meantime, we're going to take this opportunity to take a quick break. We will come back with coverage as soon as we have information about when or if this race will resume. So thanks for sticking with us on a strange day weather-wise here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Philip Ellis continues to lead overall under the red flag. Race 1 of the weekend for GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. We've got our update, and it is not the update we were hoping for. Weather conditions have not improved and do not look like they will improve in time, so this race has been checkered flagged, and the results are as they were when the red flag came out about 15 or 20 minutes ago. This is the results provisionally of race 1 of the weekend. Regulator Racing, an overall win as it stands. Great job by Philip Ellis from pole position. How about that stint from Kenton Cook as well to take Random Vandals to the lead of the race? Varun Choksi, a strong drive too. Both BMWs able to get around the Mercedes and Mackay Stevens, and that has major championship implications in the pro class, something we can talk more about in race 2 of the weekend tomorrow. Sedgwick and RS1, after a pair of wins at VIR, will settle for just 4th today here at Road America. Rothberg and Foley end up 2nd in class. Overall, not a bad day. Good job by Rothberg to fend off Blake McDonald, who was looking threatening for a good chunk of that race. And then Christian Hahn did well to take his car home in the 8th position overall. Down in the M class, congratulations to Jay Schreiben and Oz Negri picking up the win in class here in race 1 of the weekend. Cloudy skies were overhead, but it was dry when we went racing earlier today. The green flag waved over Philip Ellis, who led the field to the start of the race. Early on, Kenton Cook challenging, making up several positions from the second row of the grid, picking up some strong track position. Meanwhile, battles erupting further back. Todd Coleman falling back in the early stages, then getting caught up in this. A massive accident for Scott Dolehite. He and Coleman both making impact with the wall and the kink. Both drivers were okay. Their cars were not. On the ensuing restart, Kenton Cook again was on the charge, able to cross over Mackay Stevens, get to the inside, and take 2nd place overall, but the lead of the race in the pro class that opened the door for his teammate Varun Choksi to follow him through. Stevens dropping a couple of positions on the restart, and that could prove costly in their championship bid. Justin Rothberg, 2nd in Pro-Am, holding on to that position despite a whole bunch of pressure from Blake McDonald over the greater part of the opening stint. Alex Sedgwick trying to find a path past Mackay Stevens as well, including going off track at one stage. Red flag came out due to lightning in the area, and the race would not resume, which means we'll do it again tomorrow. Hoping for better weather, race number 2 comes your way from Road America in 24 hours' time.